Well, hello, White Sox fans, and welcome to the 2024 MLB Draft. My name is Ian Eskridge. Joining me this evening is James Fox. How you doing, James?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Oh, it's going all right. So we have Burke Granger of D1 Baseball here with us. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Hey, Burke, how you doing?
I'm great, guys. How you doing? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. So it's draft time. Pretty much what everybody, at least with us, and I'm sure with your site as well, everybody kind of looks forward to this moment. And here we are. You've probably been waiting for this for quite a while, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always been pretty passionate about the draft, so covered the draft on a few sites, and mainly with D1 Baseball. It's mostly regional coverage, but this year, just the way things aligned, I was fortunate enough to see a lot of the top college guys. Just happy to finally get this day in. There's always a lot of work, and James can attest to that goes into preparing for this day. And then 3 days later it's over, and you're already starting to dig into the 2025 guys. But let's not let that rob us of the joy of these 3 days, and just soak it all in as much as we can.
Yeah, that's pretty much about it. I imagine that you've probably already started that whole process of 2025 already, but this is the culmination of a lot of work for a lot of people. So it's an exciting night for sure. I mean, this is White Sox centric, obviously. So what do you have as far as feelings of what you think there is going to be available at this time at pick 5, and where do you think we're going here?
Yeah, so for me, full disclosure, I have no idea, and I know there's some online that maybe claim to know or that they have an idea. I've seen a lot of these top guys, and I've seen area scouts and some cross checkers and scouting directors in to see them. Speaking of the White Sox, I was at a JJ Weatherholt game where Mike Shirley was at, but I don't know what that means. I bet Mike Shirley saw all of these top 15 guys for sure. So I don't necessarily think that ties them to anyone, but the name that I keep hearing a lot is Jack Caglione, that they'd be tied to it from the college side. And then, I've heard various rumors of Travis Bazzana if he makes it there. So, again, I don't know how many people really know or how much is getting leaked out of these front offices, but right now the speculation's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nobody. The fact that nobody's like totally scooped, like the Cleveland pick, is crazy. So we have JJ Cooper.
Oh, you're dropping out, James.
Says, like, am I? Can you hear me now or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So JJ Cooper basically just said like nothing where he can say it's 100% certain, but over the last hour heard a lot about like momentum for Travis Bazzana to go 1, basically. So, everything we've been talking about for months and months and months about how Travis Bazzana is like probably the best player in the draft and the guy that they should take. But then there was all the Weatherholt rumors, this, that, like Bazzana didn't want to take a discount. Like we're about to find out.
Yeah, the coverage just started over on MLB Network, so we've got the ticker down here on the bottom. When it's time for picks, we'll go ahead and move over for that, at least for the White Sox pick. I mean, do you want me to I guess we'll do number 1 overall for sure, but I think after that, we got a commissioner, but I think he's just saying that everybody's on the clock. So, and he's getting booed. Shocker.
James, I know you've been covering the draft for a long time. How surprised are you that the coverage of this event has grown just so much in the last 5 to 10 years? Like it seems to be like, it was a 2-day event, and then now it's a 3-day event. And it seems like I'm seeing more popularity of this event and more of the mainstream sports media, not just niche blogs.
No, it's awesome. I mean, I hate where it is on the calendar. I know a lot of other people do too, but I mean, they did. I mean, I don't know if that's why it's popular, right? Like, could they have done it the second week of June and still made it cool? Probably, right? I mean, I think they kind of thought that the All-Star weekend part of it helps, but I mean, it's Sunday night and there were games today, so I really don't know how much that helps. But, it's definitely more popular. Like, I think 2020 sucked for everybody, but they did the 5-round draft and they put all of it on TV, and I think everybody was in their homes and they were like, "Oh, this is kinda cool." And then since then, it's kind of been this format. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think that they finally kind of learned from the NFL and seeing their success of the draft, and finally started televising it. I mean, obviously, when you start getting into the lower rounds, it's going to be a little less exciting for sure, considering that it's just like one pick right after another. But I think that they're doing a pretty good job with this, especially bringing on all sorts of ex players to make the picks and stuff, just like they do with the NFL coverage. And I think that makes it a lot more interesting for everybody to follow along.
Agreed.
I mean, there still is the main issue, I think, with the MLB draft compared to the NFL draft is that the guys that you draft are not most of the time not going to have an immediate impact. And I think that kind of is going to hinder excitement from some of the fan bases regardless. But I think it's definitely exciting, especially for people like us that follow the minor leagues a lot and all that stuff. So,
yeah, and it's a valid point that a lot of these guys get picked and then you don't see them in the major leagues for 4 or 5 years. But here we are, we're 1 year away from last year's draft, and we got Paul Skeens starting in the All-Star game, and 3 other guys from that draft class already got called up. Now, just my gut feeling is that we're not going to see that with this year's draft class. I don't think it's as strong. I don't think it doesn't have that star power up top that we're going to see guys that are drafted today playing in the All-Star game next year. I think that's pretty absurd. But still, there's great major league. There's going to be a ton of major league talent coming out of this draft, and I'm pretty high on at least the college guys.
Yeah, I'm really looking. I mean, the thing with there not being that definite guy is it kind of adds to the interest of everybody because nobody knows who's going to be off the board for when their pick comes up. Except for obviously Cleveland because they're kind of holding all the cards right now. Do you have any thoughts on what they're going to do with their bonus pool as far as they're trying to? I would assume they're probably trying to spread that out a little bit. You think you think the same?
I think that's always my speculation with whoever has the first pick, that they're going to try to reach a deal with one of the top 5 guys in the draft that they really like that's under slot and save some of that money to float someone down at their next pick. And I think that's what was probably driving a lot of the JJ Weatherholt speculation at this pick. James just touched on it earlier that JJ Cooper at Baseball America is saying it's now more likely that they might take a guy like Bazzana, who's less likely to take as much of a haircut. But I still think he'll sign for under the allotted amount if it is Bazzana or anyone else, because I think that's a strategy that we've seen teams play out of trying to take advantage of being in that situation of having the number 1 pick or a top 5 pick with the larger bonus pool and trying to float someone down. So I think we'll see that at some capacity, 5, 6 picks. I just don't know who it'll be, but a lot of the mock drafts that I've read, and I've only really read a few this weekend. I just don't see it. I just don't see it lining up like chalk. Like I think there will be a surprise in the first 5 picks.
Always. It was like Max Clark at 3 last year. It was like, like those players went, they were the first 5 off the board like we all expected, but that's not how we expected it. And like you brought up with Bazzana, like they could break the record with Bazzana and there's still 1.3 million under slot.
Yeah, that's upset.
Like it's nuts. That's how big the bonus pool is. Like it's literally insane. So the pick's in.
That is the plan, Clutches, that we're going to pop back on for pick 43. We're not going to go straight through because that's a whole lot of waiting for pick 43. So that is the plan. Yeah. So when he comes out here to make this first pick, I'll swap us over to that, and then hear what he has to say, what old Rob has to say about who Cleveland is picking. I'm pretty excited. It's not my team. But,
there's all sorts of rumors just about like who it's not. So it's seeming pretty obvious here. I mean, like Joe Doyle has said it's not Charlie Condon, it's not Chase Burns, and it's not JJ Weatherholt. So unless this is a massive surprise, we'll see.
Go ahead, knock that out. Yeah, so I'm interested to see what they do here. I mean, I assume that it's going to be something under slot, and we'll see. We'll see what it is. I mean, I would assume that it's probably going to be Weatherholt, but we've heard other things as well. And I don't,
That's yeah, I mean, it seems like it seems like it's going to be Pizzetta now, like based off like the last hour. But I don't know.
I wouldn't blame him for that. The whole hamstring thing with Weatherholt kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies, knowing especially from what we've seen with the White Sox for several years here of just injuries.
For sure.
Got lots of different things here.
Yeah, I mean, the pick has been reported already. So
yeah. We shall see.
And I'm sure right now there's someone on Twitter who got that information by
Keith Law has it. Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah, I didn't know how we want. I mean, we could talk about it, but I didn't know if we wanted to just go to the podium for people that were
here I'll just
along, but yeah, I mean, it's out there if anybody's scrolling Twitter.
Do that. Go ahead and bring that up. You guys have the audio for that?
Yeah, it's a little low. But I got it.
With the first pick of the 2024 MLB draft, Cleveland Guardians select a second baseman from Oregon State University. The Cincinnati Reds have the next pick.
Yeah, I don't like that one bit. Personally.
Yeah, him going to Cleveland?
Yeah, not a fan, but it totally fits. He's going to be one of those guys that's going to be super annoying for White Sox fans for years and years, probably.
Especially because he's a second baseman from Oregon State, like Nick Madrigal, but he's gonna do damage against us.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is where it gets super interesting because there's lots of rumors, just that this agency that represents Condon and Burns wants to go 2 and 3. I don't know what the order is, but who knows? There's lots of Jack Caglione rumors to Cincinnati because he's going to be cheaper than Charlie Condon. So this is by no means, I don't think anybody really knows, but
all right.
There were scenarios with Pizzana at 1 and Weatherholt at 1.
So you alluded to it, James. You had Pizzana as your top guy in this draft, and Ian, I guess same question for you.
I would have probably taken Condon 1-1 if there was no money involved, like take the best guy. Like I'd probably take Condon. But yeah, I mean, I think those two guys were, I think, the top 2 guys.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand. I'm thinking long term, it would probably be the only thing I worry about with Condon is positional flexibility. But I mean, you worry about the same thing with Pizzana as well. He's not going to slide over to shortstop. So that would have probably been. I would say that I probably have to go with Condon just for the power upside. But I mean, I watched Joe Doyle's interview with Pizzana early this year, and just listened to him talk about hitting, and the fact that he's breaking down pitchers for his teammates just kind of blew my mind and kind of made me say, I really like this guy a lot, and I'm not happy to see him go to Cleveland. So first super chat on the channel. Thank you so much, Trey. Appreciate it. He asked he's saying Cags or Griffin. That's his hope on who the White Sox go with. He's been pretty pretty consistent with that thinking right there. Thanks, Trey. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are the two like most rumored names, right? And I think at this point, like JJ Weatherholt, like is probably going to be on the board too. So I think those are the three names that we've heard most, Burke, when we've kept doing this. I know you've seen most of the college guys. We've talked Connor Griffin a ton just because there's been a ton of smoke with the White Sox and the perceived top prep player in the class. But other than that, it's been a lot of Cags, a lot of Weatherholt with the White Sox at 5.
I released my top 15 pref list of just the guys I've seen, which pretty much aligns with a lot of the rankings of the top 15 college guys. And I have Weatherholt number 1. I think he's the best pure hitter in the draft for my money. I think if you didn't have the hamstring, you're right to be a little, I guess, nervous about the hamstring issues given the White Sox history with hamstrings. But as he started to get healthier down the stretch, I think if he didn't get injured, we would be talking about him in the same tier as Travis Bazzana, because Bazzana didn't hit for as much power until this year. And I've been at a lot of Weatherholt games where he's, I've seen him take batting practice. I think there's real juice in the bat, and the barrel skills to me are super impressive. And what really ticked him up my board the last few weeks was seeing him play shortstop in the postseason as he started to get healthier. I started to, I still don't know if he's going to be able to play shortstop, but before that, I was more in the no camp. And then I saw some things where I'm like, well, maybe he could stick. And I've talked to cross checkers who liked him at third base where he played as a freshman. So the arm was not a concern for them. I saw him when he was rehabbing the hamstring, and it's not that the arm strength was not good, but he was moving very gingerly and not getting in a position to throw. So he didn't have as much on the ball. But then 2 weeks later, I'm seeing him making, sliding throws and planting and firing balls across the diamond, which makes me a little more optimistic that there's other options other than second base for him.
So I don't know how much we want to do, Ian, here. This one's a small surprise here at 2.
Yep.
So it's out there, but
Chase Burns to the Reds at 2.
So kind of goes to what I just mentioned with that agency. Burns and Condon together, the agency really wanted them at 2 and 3. So I would think Condon goes 3 here to the Rockies. Kylie McDaniel had an interesting point. I heard him on a podcast yesterday talking about Bill Schmidt, who's the Rockies GM. He was their scout director years and years ago, really coveted Chris Bryant, and then ended up taking John Gray because the Cubs took Bryant. He obviously gave Chris Bryant a ton of money in free agency, probably when he shouldn't have. But I feel like a lot of people think Chris Bryant's a very good comp for Charlie Condon. He's the GM now. I think that was just kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, Bill Schmidt's not going to let his new Chris Bryant pass him essentially.
I'm pretty surprised that the Reds went with Burns this early. That's pretty shocking, actually.
Yeah, and I think if it wasn't Burns here, he would have gone to Colorado, or at least that was a popular place where everyone was mocking him to. It'll be, I live in Ohio, and most of a good portion of my friends and neighbors here are Reds fans. So I was high on Burns. I had him number 3 overall on my board in the top pitcher. I saw him on opening weekend, and it was electric. And scouts hate it when I use the words electric, but it was electric. He was, up to triple digits and held that velocity the whole game, missing bats with 3 pitches. The curveball and slider are both legit. I think he has a chance for 3+ pitches, and his changeup, he didn't use it often, and that's one that got touched up sometimes. I think it's a potential very usable pitch at the next level. The fastball, sometimes he would get hit, but because it's a little straight, but he's got those secondary pitches to work out of jams. And, I'm a huge fan of Chase Burns and happy for the kid.
Yeah. Well,
And yeah, the pick is in already at 3.
How much do you guys think it matters that the Reds are like decent, feel like they're a contender, right? I mean, Chase Burns can come pretty quick, right, Burke?
I think he could, yeah, likely in a bullpen role. I don't think he doesn't have the command that Paul Skeens had. I don't think he's ready to pitch in a major league rotation right now, but he has the stuff that he could pitch in a major league bullpen. I'm pretty certain of that. It's live stuff. I have no idea if that plays into it at all. I'm usually one to say that wouldn't play into it, that they're not thinking that short term, but who knows? Like with a smaller mid-market team like the Reds, maybe that's cheaper than going out and getting a bullpen arm at the deadline. If you have a guy like Chase Burns now who you can use and then build towards being an ace or a top 2 or 3 starter on that team.
I thought for sure they were going to go with Condon.
I
did too.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what the bonuses are here, right? Because you guys both know kind of how this works, right? Like if Burns wasn't going to go for a while, like I wouldn't be surprised if Burns gets less money in the signing bonus than Condon does. I think Condon might get the biggest bonus of anybody going 3 to the Rockies. And we won't know obviously for a few days unless something leaks out tonight, but I think somebody breaks Skeens. I'm just not sure that it was at 1.
I think that's plausible for sure.
And this agency, and for what I don't want to mention, I don't remember which one it is, but I mean they get 2 and 3, so it makes sense to cut a small deal at 2 if your guy's going to fall, if you're going to get slot or more than slot at 3, and then you get both players. And then if this is Charlie Condon, like we think, it gets Oakland could be literally anything. So like it's crazy.
Oakland's the real wild card, I think.
Yeah. So the pick is in for the Rockies. Just waiting for him to come out here, and then I'll throw that up there. So we thought that the first 4 picks was going to throw everything kind of. We didn't have any idea where everybody was going to go, and sure enough,
yeah.
Second pick and
see what
everybody's already off.
I'm curious to see too what they announce him like Condon as.
Yeah.
Like is it third base or outfield or both? I don't know.
Similar for Weatherholt when he gets picked. Whether they announce him as a second baseman or a shortstop.
Right. No, that's a good point. All right, there it is.
There it is. Charlie Condon. So, I mean, I thought he was going to be gone by the time the White Sox picked. So this doesn't shock me at all. I'm just
these
surprised.
3 players being gone isn't a surprise.
Yeah, just where they went, kind of surprising. All right, let's get here. So our resident guy, Danny Miller, Sox end up with JJ. He'd be over the moon. That's been his guy since day 1. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I'd be great with JJ Weatherholt. That's totally fine with me. Burke, you've seen JJ, right? I mean, that he was rumored number 1 coming into the season. It's obviously hamstring injuries are frightening, especially for White Sox fans. But yeah. So.
I've seen him a bunch. I was at his regional last year in his sophomore year where he hit 449 and led the country in hitting. He hit well with Wood, with Team USA and the collegiate national team and on the Cape. So I'm not concerned about the transition. I think if he didn't injure the hamstring, he would have been up in that conversation as one of the top players in the country. He didn't put in the numbers this year, but as he got healthier, you started to see glimpses of what he looked like at the end of last year, and I'm a big fan of it. I think he's got the best hit tool in this class. Condon, Condon turned in one of the best collegiate seasons of all time. Like he led the country in hitting, OPS, and home runs. Like it's absurd what he did. and to see what he might do in Colorado is going to be scary because it's real juice in the bat. Like him and Caglione, in terms of raw power, are really going to that. I think that's power that's definitely going to translate to the next level.
I'm really curious to get Burke's thoughts on this one. Like this one is.
Oh boy,
I know Ian's thrilled, but I don't know. I don't know about this one.
I don't get it, but it's coming up here in a second. I'll just go ahead and swap us over here.
You're insinuating there's a surprise coming at 4 here, James?
I mean, I don't know. It's been rumored all day.
Okay.
I just don't think this is the best player to take here. But okay,
seems strange to me as well. James' favorite player. That is right. Yeah, we were both hoping that wasn't going to even come into play for the White Sox. So,
and it's not even necessarily the player; it's the profile. I can't get behind that this high.
You guys have me really curious.
I mean, we could say it. Do you want to say it, Ian?
So it's being rumored right now that Kurtz is going to the
okay.
To the
That's
A's.
what I was just gonna say.
Wake Forest, Nick Kurtz at 4. And look, there were rumors all day that Oakland was going to cut a deal with Nick Kurtz, possibly Braden Montgomery in this spot. So, they have extra picks. I don't know what they want to do later. Kurtz might have fell till 10, 11, something like that, So if he did not go here.
Yeah, and this is kind of where this is going to make things interesting for the White Sox because now I don't know what the heck's going to happen.
Really, really interesting. Because I mean, here's the thing: like if you're taking Connor Griffin at 5, right, as we've wanted to, and I would have been fine with that. Like you have to think that he's better than Cags and Weatherholt. Like it can't just be like you're going to save $1 million, so you're going to take this prep kid when you have Cags and Weatherholt on the board for you. So if they do that, hey man, if they do it, cool, and like they're going to save money, but they have to really believe in Connor Griffin for him to go 5 over both these college guys. But look, that's what Jim Callis has nailed the White Sox in the past. Other than Noah Schultz, he had him taking Connor on the board, or Connor with Cags and Weatherholt on the board this morning. So. We shall see. Now they'll take like Braden Montgomery at 5 probably after I've said that.
So if you're scared of the pro, if you want to, I'll listen to the pick.
That guy's like, should I cheer or no?
Yeah, I don't love first base this high, which is why like even Cags is like I get it because you really need power and he's the best power prospect in the class, but you're at first, man. You better mash or you're nothing, as we've seen with too many guys like over the last decade.
Yeah, as we've unfortunately seen on the south side.
Like Weatherholt, Kurtz was a guy who entered the year as a potential 1-1 guy and then got banged. He had a slow start and then was banged up a little bit. And then he got really hot at one point. But, I agree the first base profile is not great. It hasn't been in recency bias. We're talking about Andrew Vaughn and Spencer Torkelson. These are guys that I liked a lot. I thought they were going to hit at the next level. But I also don't like banging guys like Kurtz or Caglione for something they had no part of. It's a different profile. I like both of them defensively better than those other 2 guys we mentioned at first base. The
pick is in, and it's a massive surprise for the White Sox.
Oh boy.
if that is indeed what happens, I'm pretty surprised.
In a good or bad way, Ian?
Well, I'll just go ahead and drop that. What they're saying on there's a couple people on Twitter that are saying that the White Sox are drafting Hagen Smith, which is I mean, I've obviously throughout this season we've seen him absolutely dominate games. I'm just kind of surprised.
I was at
sure they were going to go with a bat.
I was at one of the games that he dominated. So he was pitching against Kentucky and Lexington at the same weekend that J.J. Weatherholt in West Virginia was playing at Cincinnati, and Lexington and Cincinnati are like less than an hour apart. So a ton of cross-checkers and scouting directors flew in and were at both of those. So they were watching Hagen Smith on Friday and then J.J. Weatherholt on Saturday, and I was lucky enough to be there for both of them. I didn't see Mike Shirley there for the Hagen Smith game, but I assume he was in the building, and if he was, what he saw was a dominant performance. Hagen Smith got 31 whiffs that game. It was mostly fastball, slider. There was another higher profile prospect guy there that talked about Hagen Smith's changeup, which was a non-factor in that game. Like, got to be careful who you're listening to, because he threw like 3 changeups. One of them got hit off the fence by Ryan Waldsmith, who we're going to see get picked in the first round tonight. It's not that the changeup isn't good, but I didn't see it. Like, if you were at that game, you didn't see a good changeup. He spiked 2, threw 1 that it was hit for a double. But again, fastball and slider were as good as I've seen all year. Held his velocity on the fastball, was in the mid-90s in his 6th and final inning. And then, like I said, he missed bats with the fastball and the slider. 31 whiffs in one game is on like 80 pitches. It was just a dominant performance. And I became a fan that night. And as of that night, I was debating him and Chase Burns in my brain. I like Burns better because there's more pitches that I think are potential for plus. But Hagen Smith is also really good. But like you guys, I'm a little surprised. I didn't expect to see 2 pitchers go in the first 5 picks this year.
Me either. The only thing I can figure is that they weren't as impressed with the bats at the top of the draft. That as you've said before, James, and I've heard in other places, you just can't make these guys be there.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a stunner, but I do feel more confident that Hagen Smith will be awesome than any of the bats they would have taken, just because, and that's not even anything against them. It's a White Sox problem. Like, to me, I've never seen them consistently develop bats. Like, I have no doubt that, and look, they're going to be horrible again next year. If they weren't horrible next year, like, Hagen Smith could be in the rotation by mid-season next year. So I hope they slow play it a little bit and don't do that. But I mean, you're probably trading Garrett Crochet, I would imagine. Like, you have Hagen Smith and Noah Schultz in your rotation. The White Sox clearly are fans of the Arkansas program. So, you like Peyton Pallette last year. You had Michael Turner from there. They have quite a few guys.
And here we go.
From Arkansas. It's a TJ already. I think it was high school, though.
Yeah.
Pick of the 2024 MLB draft, the Chicago White Sox select Hagen Smith, a left-handed pitcher from the University of Arkansas. The Kansas City Royals have the next pick.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and bring up some of these chats here in a second after I get this back up.
Well, I know. I mean, I know. Like, when I late at night when I'm delirious tonight and I get to talk to Mike Shirley, like, I know what my first question is. So it's about Brian Bannister and how much of an influence Brian Bannister had on this selection. I mean, obviously, like, look, it's not like the scouts love him, Brian Bannister hates him, we take him anyway. So I'm guessing, I would assume Brian Bannister's on board, but just how much influence does like that pitching infrastructure have? And I will say five drafts right now with Mike Shirley, left-handed pitcher, shortstop, left-handed pitcher, shortstop, left-handed pitcher. There's a type here.
Yeah. Let's see here. Trey's pretty upset. He's always been anti Hagen Smith for quite a while. Says we have no bats.
Yeah, and that's going to continue. So, I mean,
for the foreseeable future, probably. Yeah. Now this opens up a lot of intrigue for me with pick 43 and pick 68. We had talked before about the White Sox taking some prep pitchers, as that is one of the, the prep arms there. There are a bunch that are not for the top of the list, but couple picks down. So this would, they've got so much pitching in the minor leagues right now. It's going to be interesting to see what happens on the farm now.
That was a stunner.
Yeah, yes. I don't think I've seen a mock draft that had Hagen Smith to the White Sox.
I mean, maybe early on, but I think lately it's all been like, they want to go bat, and clearly, like, they've told everybody that they wanted to go bat. So, and even like Mike Shirley saying last week that they, there's still 2 college pitchers up there, that they really like. I thought that was more of like negotiating leverage with like the guys that they were actually talking to. But yeah, this is, wow. I don't hate it. I'm just like surprised. Like I think this guy's going to be awesome. I mean, there's some like injury health risk probably. Like he's had Tommy John already. I don't know how long ago it was.
I want to say he was a sophomore in high school when that happened.
Okay.
Yeah, that's because it was 5 years ago, I think, that he had it. So that would check out.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So I mean, if they do manage to keep Crochet, you're looking at Schultz, Crochet, and Hagen Smith in the same rotation. Especially after having 11 left-handed starts last year.
Right.
To go this far in the other direction's pretty crazy. Let's see here. Sleepy says it. In Bannister, we trust.
Right.
So, well, that was something. I don't even know what to say. I'm pretty shocked. Yes, so Vince Bannister is the son of Floyd.
So where
Bannister.
does he? So where does he rank?
Oh, that's
in the system. I mean, 3, 4. I guess it's probably right after Thorpe, I would guess. So,
well, Thorpe's graduating in what, like 2 starts?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, I would say, yeah, before Caro for sure. Right after the top 2 guys.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I guess Passon, I wasn't listening to it, but Passon was talking about like how they're going to probably trade Crochet and Fetty by the deadline, which isn't, I mean, obviously it's not a surprise. So
yeah.
And I wonder how much under slot this is. I mean, I don't think it's 7.7 million because I don't think they were going to pay anybody that much. So I'm sure this is somewhat of a discount, where they can do what they want later. 6 is a bit of a surprise too,
and Jack goes to the Royals.
Yeah. Jack Caglione to the Kansas City Royals.
Interesting.
How many picks did I get right in my mock draft?
I don't know.
I think just 1. I think I had Condon. No, I had Condon 3.
Oh, okay.
To the Rockies. That's it, though. I got 1. I was hoping for 5 picks correctly. I have 39 chances to get 5 picks right. So,
and they announced him as a 2-way player, Caglione.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I'm not in on him as a pitcher. But the power, the juice in the bat is legit.
And he's so Smith is young too. I forgot about that. He's 20. Mm-hmm. So Vinny Cervino of perfect game, 270s in the fastball slider, still young at only 20. monster whiff numbers and missed a stupid number of bats. Some refinement needed, but frontline potential. So,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, that's I don't know. I feel like Ian, we just didn't talk that much about it because we thought they were taking a bat.
Thought for sure. So Danny's asking any guess on the bonus for Smith. I would assume that they're probably able to go a little bit under slot here.
I would
him,
guess.
But
I would guess $7 million would be my guess. Which saves you $700K, which would be great. And I can get into that math later, now, whatever. But saving 700, gets you a pretty good player down to 43.
If any White Sox fans are unfamiliar with Smith, I posted a video on Twitter yesterday or the day before, a full inning of him pitching. You can get an idea of what the stuff looks like behind home plate. It's pretty nasty.
I'll go ahead and find it and throw it in the chat. Okay, there's that. Just went through that in the chat. So if you're interested in going and looking at the video, it is in there. Yeah, this is a reasonable question. So who's going to hit for this team? I don't have an answer for you.
In what decade?
Yeah, in what year? That's a good question as well.
Holy freaking smokes, man! Like that. Yeah, they're not gonna. And they're not gonna get bats. Like wait until they trade Garrett Crochet and Eric Fetty for more pitching.
Yeah, that's the thing, and we've talked about this as well. Is that most of the teams don't seem to be giving up a lot of stud hitters, at least close to the major stud hitters.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, for sure. So, Burke, what just any main takeaways here for these 6? You might still be here when St. Louis picks here. We're gonna bring Elijah in. We appreciate you hopping on, but what are you just in your man cave the rest of the night, or what? What does that look like for you?
I think so. Yeah, I'm just going to be sitting in the basement. I'm going to pop open a beverage here when I'm done with you guys, and just enjoy the rest of the draft. But yeah, it's been fun. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Who's one of the guys that you love that maybe isn't consensus up here that you've seen? I know the college game pretty well, so.
I'm pretty high on Christian Moore. He's a guy I just love watching that guy play. And I happened to be at a game. It was a deciding game 3 of a series between Kentucky and Tennessee. They were both top 5 teams, and he had 3 home runs on that Sunday. And I was in the front row right by the dugout and got some awesome shots of it. And those 2 programs chirping back and forth at each other, the budding rivalry, it was just, I don't have a dog in the fight, but to me it was just fun. And I like guys that are fun to watch. He's not as patient, I think, as I would like to be, but the dude can really hit to all fields, and it's real power to all fields. I think he's going to be one of those aggressive type hitters that is just going to be. I think he's going to be a spark plug for a team and a fan favorite at wherever he ends up.
Yeah, I was at the me and my kid were at the game where he hit for the cycle in the College World Series, and
nice.
that guy is he's fantastic, and I'm actually surprised he doesn't get talked about more. It's nice to hear other people talking about him, because that was one of the Baseball America tweeted out, who should we be talking about more that nobody's really talking about? And I was thinking to myself, it's Christian Moore, because most people just don't seem to be discounting him. JJ Weatherholt to the Cardinals.
That makes a lot of sense. He seems like a Cardinals player for me.
Yeah.
I would be thrilled with this pick if I was a Cardinals fan.
Yeah, I mean the 1 year that you're terrible enough to get a guy, you get this guy, JJ Weatherholt's a stud.
Oh, I didn't know he was rocking a cowboy hat and a bolo tie though.
Yeah, I saw him earlier. They kind of showed him.
All right.
Well, Danny Miller's going to have to
see that before I finish my rankings.
Follow him. Look at
All right,
that.
guys.
All right,
really appreciate you having me on.
All right, thanks, Burke. Appreciate
it. Thanks, dude.
All right. Well, that's not what I had.
Yeah.
Go ahead and I'll go ahead and get
Oh,
Elijah
you're got.
started here.
Oh, we just let him go. We let him go too soon. I have the Angels pick.
Ah.
Burke. I'm sorry. He's going to be in the big leagues in like 2 weeks, though. So
Yeah.
we're about
no
to find
doubt.
out how good Christian Moore is when he's like playing for the Angels in August.
Go. All right.
So do you think it's like, does that, like, does it mean they're taking bats later? Are they taking more pitching? Like,
I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and bring Elijah in here and get
Yeah.
his reaction. There we go.
Hmm.
Let's sync that up. Get all working. All right, there we go.
Elijah,
how are you, buddy?
How was your
Oh,
reaction
man.
compared to last year?
A little bit more calm than last year because I had an idea of this one. So I think last year I was totally caught off guard. This one I kind of heard some things. And
Yeah,
heard it
can we
was
share? Can
possible.
we share that or no?
I heard from somebody that I'm not going to give names, but I heard from somebody within the Baseball America world that they heard kind of before the draft that Hagen Smith was looking like a possibility.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy.
Elijah sent a message on a text thread that I was in, and I told him he was stupid. I did not bet it on DraftKings like I should have.
Yeah, should have.
Because the odds were tremendous, and now I feel stupid. But yeah, good job, Elijah.
So,
you should have just reported it. You could have like started your career.
Yeah, gotta be nice to some people, but it is what it is, right? Like he's good. You're right, James. Like he's a great pitcher. I don't doubt he's good. I think there's some risk there with the arm, and I think it's just like, I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like you're replacing Crochet. You're replacing Crochet with Smith, and you're trading Crochet for a bunch of bats. Which, like, if that works, sure. Do I think a team is going to pony up with a hitter that's nearly as good as JJ or Cags? Not really. Like, I mean, it comes down to like, are the Orioles trading Samuel Basallo? Because if the Orioles are trading Samuel Basallo, I'm in. Hagen Smith comes in, Garrett Crochet, you get that premium hitter, but like no other team is offering a hitter that has the upside of a Cags or a Weatherholt. So it's like, I get the logic, but it's just, it's tough. It's tricky.
But what if
we'll see?
What if nobody can score any runs against the White Sox?
I mean, yeah, that's right. Like the pitching system is great. The pitching's deep. I talk about this every week on the podcast. Like it's like the pitching's amazing right now, and you just added a guy who can be an ace. Like there's a lot to like there. That's exciting, but at the same time, like the hitting is just there's not hitters in this system, so it's like you need to find a way to get some hitting. And if they're committed to trading Crochet and Fetty and just hammering hitting prospects, I'm fine with that. But if you're in a situation where you're gonna have nothing but
there he is.
pitchers, it's just
there's clutch.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. It's tough. I see the idea. I see the vision. If
Hagen
Bannister loves him,
Hagen Smith and Noah Schultz together is interesting.
Oh, it's nasty. It's nasty. I mean, that could be a ridiculous left-handed 1-2 punch.
Can you imagine facing Noah Schultz on a Friday, Drew Thorpe on a Saturday, and Hagen Smith
and then
on
Hagen
Sunday?
Smith? That's terrifying.
You just mess with people.
This team, like, I think legitimately next year, even with an entirely rookie rotation, basically, or second-year rotation, like, this rotation is going to be top 10, 15 in baseball pretty instantly, honestly. Like, I think there's a real world that's the case. Are you going to score some damn runs? Like, I'm not sure, honestly. We'll see.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean,
you got to go back to the next 2-3 picks, right? You got to spend some money on some hitters.
I mean, you can say that that the White Sox aren't going to give up any runs. The problem is they're only scoring like what 2 and
nothing
1 run a game. I mean, you
can't
not
scoring at all.
You can't win games like that, and you can have some great pitching. But without being able to score any runs, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, if Moore goes here, They're going to get some bats. I mean, 43's got to be a bat, right? It's got to be a guy that you probably overslot even maybe, or 68. One of those two picks has to be a guy that you can afford to overslot. I assume, like you said, James, I think Hagen, my guess, I was texting somebody right now, like I think Hagen's probably at least 500 under slot, probably 500 to a million, somewhere in that range under slot. Not a huge, it's definitely not more than a million, but somewhere in that, high sixes, maybe right around low sevens, right? So you're going to get a little bit of a deal on him. It's going to come down to what you're able to then to work with from there and to find some guy.
Oh.
Yeah, this pick is going.
My
Just
bad.
put me on stage, but no, it's all
Yeah,
good.
you're good.
But I think you're going to see another walkout type of situation. That's what I'm hoping, right? I mean, the ideal situation is you can get some college guys in 2, 3, 4, and then somewhere in the 4 through, well, not 2, the next 2 picks, right? And then somewhere in the 4 through 7th round, you can overslot the heck out of a high school guy. I mean, that's really the ideal situation now that I think about it more.
So, Ian, what do you think?
Yeah.
Go through
there goes Christian Moore to Angels, because that's who's going to be the first player to play in Major League Baseball.
He is for sure,
100%.
and it'll be like in 2 weeks.
Yeah, he'll be up soon. That's for sure.
So I will say one of the Connor Griffin destinations rumored was Pittsburgh at 9. They're coming up next here. I mean, who else is on? Like, we got Braden Montgomery on the board still. That like was not expected, I guess, right? You have both of the high school position players still.
Yeah, both. I think Rayner and I think Washington, goes at one of those high schoolers. That's my guess. I think that I've heard a lot of Rayner buzz and some Griffin buzz as well in Washington.
Well, they have extra money now too.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like they go all in on the youth. I mean, their system is quietly looking really good. So I think that my guess is they go one of those 2 high school guys. I'm not really sure other than that, though, what's going to happen. I mean, I think Yesavaje is going to go soon. I think one of those 11 through 13 teams will go with him. We'll see. Who else am I looking for? Yeah, this is interesting for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we pretty much all had hitters going to the White Sox. So it's gonna be interesting. What happens here at 43 and 68? I'm not entirely sure.
It's gotta be that. It has to be, right?
I mean, it doesn't have to. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, we're gonna pop back on. We're gonna be sitting here, and like at 43, there's gonna be like right-handed college starters who were like, man, that guy's pretty good. Like, maybe you should pop him at 43. If Ben Hess of Alabama's on the board at 43, I'm not gonna not take him because you have all this pitching in your system.
No, I mean, you're right. It just you got. I mean, the trades have to come now. You got to find a way to turn Crochet, Fetty, Kopech, DeYoung, Pham, whoever else it is. Like, I did that little like trade breakdown of what I think the Sox can get back yesterday in all of their deals, and like you've got to find a way to get some hitters, and not just hitters, but like impact hitters. Like the team, the system needs a few more guys that you can say like that's a potential star hitter, and they really just don't have many of those guys, right? Like you're excited about. I mean, Colson, we'll see how he bounces back second half of the season, right? And like Walkout, it's exciting, but it's flashy, right? It's not consistent yet. And like Gonzalez has looked good the past week when I've been watching him a little, but like it's still not a star bat, I don't think, right? Like who in the system right now, aside from Colson, if things click, is like a star hitter? I don't know.
The pick is in for the Pirates. I like it.
Oh yeah, you got it already.
What'd you hear?
Yeah. Do you guys want it or no?
Yeah, just give it.
So the Pirates are taking Connor Griffin.
Yeah.
We got a question here from Stefan Bardo. When do you expect Hagen Smith to be up? Thanks for the super chat, my guy.
Oh my God.
Soon.
Too soon for this bad White Sox team, but I mean, yeah, next 2025 at some point, probably.
Yeah, that's my guess as well. Drew Bogues. Thank you, my friend. Cheers to the 3 of you and everyone else at FutureSox for the great draft coverage, not just tonight, but all season. We appreciate you, Drew. Thanks for hopping in the chat. Thanks for the super chat. We appreciate you. Thanks for listening and hanging out. Yeah, I kind of think that Hagen Smith's going to be up. I don't think he's going to sit very long. Yeah, I think we'll probably see him in.
We'll barely see
Kannapolis
him.
here
I think we'll
for-
barely see him throw this year, just because he threw so much. I think it's gonna be similar to like the
Yeah,
treatment they've
possible.
done with some of those other guys, the college
Yeah.
guys that come up and are good. I mean, I think he throws probably maybe a few games this year, but if anything, honestly, and then next year you see him immediately in Birmingham, and then from Birmingham, Chicago.
That's the difference too.
Probably
Like there's nowhere for him to pitch initially. Like, so my guess is like whatever backfield games you want, they'll determine how many innings he has left, and then
Right. Exactly.
does he do the playoff push for Canny though? If he's got innings left, I mean,
maybe
I don't
that's
see
it.
any
There
reason
we
why
go.
he can't go
Or
out
for
and throw
Birmingham. Can he go to
3
Birmingham?
innings
I mean, throw 3
right
innings
away.
in Birmingham? Why not? Right?
I don't know.
I don't know.
The Pittsburgh Pirates select Connor Griffin.
Okay, Griffin.
I thought he might go there.
Yeah, it makes some sense.
Yeah. The only thing that I worry about, and we talked about this with Carlos Collazo, is just wondering if these guys are going to get ramped back up to pitch in the affiliates this year. That's my question, is whether they feel safe enough to be able to do that.
Yeah. So do you think they've taught Hagen Smith the cutter yet, or no?
They're
Like,
probably already talking to him about it.
Like
Yeah.
tonight on the Zoom, like before he signed.
Hey, here's how you throw this, kid.
Yeah, by osmosis.
Yeah, Griffin makes sense. I mean, I think Rainer might just go hit. They might just go back to back with those two guys. Honestly, that would make a lot of sense. Rainer to the Nats.
Let's see here. Let's see here. Just scrolling through the chat here. Clutch, come on, man, you're killing me here. Impact hitters such as Dominic Fletcher. Yes.
Oh man, that's gross. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I'm very curious. It's very interesting. I mean, I think like we've talked about, like this pitching is loaded, right? I mean, it's nasty. Chris Sale type. That's a great point. It's true. I mean, the powerful lefties is exactly what this organization's been targeting for the last 5 years, and we're seeing success with it. We can't act like it's not successful, right? Crochet's coming around. Schultz is going to be a stud. Hagen Smith is next in line. Like there's a lot of guys that we're seeing this work for. It's just like at some point, I get the MLB draft. The MLB draft drives me crazy sometimes because there's this whole thing about like you have to go for the best players, and like I get that, but at some point you gotta think positionally to a degree. I mean, this team, there is not a single outfielder in the White Sox system that is going to be a major league player in the next 4 years. If I'm calling George Walkow a 2029 guy, maybe, right? Like in the next 4 seasons, is there a single outfielder that's even slightly has a chance of being a major league regular? I don't think so. Like, now I love some of these guys, right? They're good guys, and some of them are having solid seasons, but like there is not an outfielder in the system that is even close to a major league talent other than Walkow, who's 4 or 5 years away, right? It's hard. I get it. I see the vision, but I also am like, can we get some guys to fill some holes? Because there is some holes, and there's some serious holes in this offense. So I don't know. I'm curious to see it. I'm not quite as angry as I was last year, James, but I still am a little confused. That's for sure.
I just think it's the lack of absolute slam dunk bats. My thinking here is that from what I've seen from Shirley and company so far with his drafts, is that the evaluation has been fairly solid, and the guys that they've picked up have become high end of the system guys in the last couple of years. Now, Jacob Gonzalez, that one was kind of a polarizing pick for most people. Yeah. But this year he's been a lot better, and he did rework his entire swing, and that could be one of the reasons why they didn't take Griffin on the White Sox, is because that they felt that they would have to, retool his swing maybe a little bit too much, and Hagen Smith's more of a polished product regardless of what position he plays. They're taking best talent available rather than deciding, well, we need a guy that has a bat as opposed to an arm, and we feel like Hagen Smith is this much better, so that's why we're going to draft him. I mean, we've all had this this talk about whether you take best player available or whether you draft by need. And we've pretty much all said that they need to draft the best player available. And if they feel that that's Hagen Smith, then that's where they're going, right?
Yeah.
Well, but what did Mike Shirley say, right? And how do we feel? Like they have to get this pick right. So if I were to tell you, like, how are they most likely to get this pick right? Probably with what they just did. I wasn't expecting.
Do you really think that though, James? Like, do you really think that he's if you take a JJ Weatherholt, like
in the White Sox pitching development model?
Yeah, I guess.
Like, I don't trust the White Sox. I wanted a hitter, right? I would have been fine with Weatherholt.
No, I get it.
But the hamstrings scare me. Like me and Ian sat like I wanted Cutter Griffin, but like that I don't understand the risk of taking Cutter Griffin. Like fix the swing. You know, like what do you have a guy probably going to make the majors, but like they have to nail it. This pick has to be a dude. And Hagen Smith is. I wasn't expecting it, but like from they have to get this right. Like I totally understand it.
Yeah, no, I think that's the right mindset. Honestly, I understand that. I just, if he's the guy, he's the guy, right? That's how we're gonna have to roll with it, and we got to just keep moving along, and then you just gotta hope, hope we find some bats at the deadline, because like there's teams with bats. Like I have been saying this over and over, but like there's teams that have offensive prospects and absolutely need some hitting that you just gotta find those teams, and you gotta force their hand, because the White Sox have leverage right now. Looks like if you guys want a spoiler, this is definitely a surprise in my opinion. Wow.
Hang on a minute. What is it? Washington?
Yeah,
Seaver
Washington. Seaver
Wake
King.
Forest
Wow,
shortstop.
interesting. That's a reach.
So you got an extra pick.
But then you go with a college guy who kind of underperformed.
They announced him as a shortstop though, which I do find interesting. Like they played him at third at Wake. He did play short and center field.
He can play short and center. Yeah,
there.
He can play.
Yeah, I mean, he's a super athlete. So they're clearly under slot here, and I wonder if they're going to be a prep pitching team with pick 39 that they acquired, and they pick at 44, I think, too. So, the one thing that was fascinating to me about that Washington trade that they made was just that Washington's in the same position that the White Sox are in next year, where they're kind of relegated to the 10th overall pick, but they're not the 10th worst team, obviously. And they picked up $2.4 million in that trade. I mean, that's like what their original bonus pool would have been if they were picking at 7. So,
yeah, fascinating. Also, 3 Wake Forest guys in the top 10. I'm trying to think of when the last time that has happened from any school. Honestly, that's pretty crazy.
And why is it happening?
Yeah.
I mean, the part I don't understand.
I get the idea. Like maybe these guys are just, I don't know, really successful organization or program that's been good the last few years, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Wake is a great program. This was not on my bingo card.
Yeah,
same.
I didn't think Kurtz or King was going top 10, to be honest. So pretty crazy seeing, and Burns going 2 even. That's 2, 4, and 10 from that team at Wake is pretty insane.
Yeah.
I keep tweeting out these. I'm running this baby page right now. Yeah, that's an interesting one from Washington. I mean, I would say, is it fair to say half these picks have been like a total surprise in my mind? Really, kind of crazy. But that's how the MLB draft goes. It happens every year. I mean, nobody thought Wyatt Langford was falling to 4 last year. People were saying he was going to go 1, and then out of nowhere, Skeens goes 1, and then you see Clark go up to 3. I mean, it's a crapshoot. It is every year, and that's really the reality of it. And then from now, we assess and we see, where things are going from there, right? Like that's all there is to do, right? You roll with it, you see what happens, and then just keep going. I was going to say, what do you? I'm good to go. I'm fired up now. I'm ready.
Well, I'm just like curious to dig into the mechanical stuff. Like Ian, we got to find like some pitching people to have on, like just because like Hagen Smith is like weird. He's like on the far first base side of the rubber. Like you would think that there's some, and look, I'll talk to Mike Shirley later on tonight. I'm sure he'll elaborate on how good they think this guy's a top of the rotation stud lefty, or they wouldn't have taken him at 5. Right. But just to get, maybe a little bit more information on some of the immediate changes they have to do. I mean, it is a lot of walks, right? There's some command issues, but I'm sure they think that they can figure that stuff out.
Yeah. I got a super chat here. It says, how much was this pick impacted by their potential draft position next year? Is next year a hitting heavy draft?
I doubt it was influenced at all, honestly. I mean, I think they took the best guy they could get for the price that they wanted to pay. We don't know that yet. I guarantee you this is not 7.7 million. Maybe it's 7. Maybe they like Cags better and they couldn't get the discount. I don't know, but it was clearly
0.76. Yeah.
it was clearly part of this, like saving a little bit at 7. I'm sure they did that. I don't know when we'll have that information though. But I mean, no, like next year is next year. They can't worry about it.
Sounds like Rainer at 11, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, high school. So I will say, like, Mark Connor was the scouting director for the Padres for a long time. He's the new scouting director in Detroit. They went high school heavy last year, going high school heavy again this year. It's not really a surprise.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Max Clark and Bryce Rayner. It's like the two kings of drip of the last 2 years.
The Tigers are going to be very swaggy. Yes.
Yeah. We've got very disappointed with the pick. If they don't get bats with their trade candidates, it will be a bad pick, shaping up to be the Mariners and playing every game 3-2. Thank you, Matt POV. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that.
Yeah, interesting.
And it is Bryce Rayner to the Tigers, as was mentioned. So, yeesh. And Jackson Jobe. Yeah. Man. Now, I can say it now that he's on the Tigers. I don't like this kid, and I want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, you've been dancing around this for months.
This for a while, yeah. I remember you mentioning something like that.
Yeah, I just I don't know. There's just something about him. And then after seeing his interview on the combine coverage, it just reinforced my opinion on his just on his personality. I was like, this guy, I don't know. So now I don't have to worry about it. Now I'll enjoy watching him strike out against White Sox pitching.
We're gonna get off air Ian here like tonight.
Yeah, I guess so.
Let's see. So Trey says, so the Guardians, Royals, and Tigers are all on the upswing, and our Sox are.
Oh, that's not fair, Trey.
I don't think that's fair to say. I mean, we have to see these guys perform first, and we see this every year in the draft. People think that a team has a great draft, and then, the guys that they end up drafting who look like they might have been great picks at the time, you see them underperform, and then, you end up in the spot that they've been in for years now.
I'm curious where Montgomery's going to slide to. That's the guy that I thought pre-injury. I thought he was a really good, pretty good shot at 5 potentially, honestly. So I'm curious to see how far he's going to slide past 12.
Yep.
Or past 11.
I think there's some swing and miss issues.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of teams that want him to hit lefty only, and I don't know. I feel like he's a little bit reticent to do that.
Right.
But somebody is going to steal him. I mean, you thought Braden Montgomery, he could be on board for the Cubs. Like, I'm sure they would take him. Like, all the Giants are here at 13. So, what do we got? 12, right?
Yeah, 12's coming up, the Red Sox. Thank you for the super chat, Robert. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. Thank you.
So the Red Sox last year took the falling college talent and Kyle Teal, same scouting department, different GM. So Craig Breslow in charge there. You do have Trey Yesevich on the board with a, pitcher that's leading your baseball department now. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So
it's be interesting.
Ed's saying that he's hearing Cam Smith to the Sox.
That would make sense. Yeah, that's a very Red Sox pick.
Who?
Cam Smith, the third baseman out of Florida State.
That's interesting. He's very young. No, that's not correct.
That's not correct?
It is not correct.
That it's Cam Smith? No.
According to Twitter, it's not correct.
Interesting.
Boston Red Sox are selecting Texas A&M outfielder Braden Montgomery with the number 12. Joe Doyle and Jeremy Booth.
Yeah, if it's Joe, I believe.
Of FSS Plus.
Yeah.
So Braden Montgomery, 12.
I was just saying it. That's a good pick. That's a good pick. I think he's talented. I think you're right. The lefty righty thing is interesting. His splits are pretty drastic for a college guy. So we'll see if he ends up just sticking lefty, but it's still a powerful lefty bat, good corner outfielder.
It's a lot of Ks. It's the discussion that a lot of people are going to have with Vance Honeycutt, right? Like if Vance Honeycutt's strikeout rate was 17%, like he might have been the number 1 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
but it's like 27%, which is totally unheard of for a first round college pick. Now it's a total tool shed, like Gold Glove center field type with big power, but it's just nobody like that has ever struck out less in the pros. So somebody will take the chance, I think, in the 20s. But yeah, I mean, there's real concerns with some of these guys. I mean, it's a bad draft, and we're getting into the teens.
Yep, this is the part of the draft that scared everybody. So this makes perfect sense that we have so many questions about these guys that are going at this part of the draft. I like Trey's comment here is that Montgomery is actually just Benintendi with an arm.
No, he's got about 10
difference is-
times more power than Benintendi.
Yeah. Well, but Benintendi can actually walk right now, so there's that.
I guess that's true.
Benintendi like hit a homer in person. I was there today, so
He did hit one.
I
I
witnessed
saw
him-
it on TV.
I witnessed him
rare occurrence.
hitting a home run today.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, no,
Oh,
Honeycutt was supposed to be a
Honeycutt.
stud. I saw that comment. He had a ton of hype, I remember, last year going into this season, and he's still really talented.
He
It's
is.
just a matter of putting it together and figuring out the swing and miss for him because, like, tooled out outfielder, going to be an elite Gold Glove type center fielder, a ton of power. Honeycutt's a guy that there's no world he falls to 43, but like somebody's going to get a really fascinating player in the late first round just because, like, if he figures out the swing and miss and can kind of shorten the swing a little bit, like that's a guy that could be an absolute stud compared to a lot of guys in the second half of the first round that are kind of a little bit lower upside and just straight risky. He's going to have that upside for sure.
Yeah, no, that was my thought. I liked watching Vance Honeycutt this year. The only thing that there was a lot of swing and miss there, and he is absolutely a phenomenal center fielder. That kid can go get it.
Yeah.
Oh boy! Now, Trey Savage makes total sense to either one of these next three teams, and if he slides past one of these three next teams, I will be.
I'd be
absolutely
shocked.
Yeah,
No,
I mean, so the rumor for the Giants for months has been Cam Caminiti. But I mean, look, I don't know that they thought some of these guys were going to be on the board because like the top college guys here, like you still have Yesevich here, you have James Tibbs in here somewhere.
James Tibbs, yeah, he could.
Yeah, I mean, like
be
the Cubs. I'm sure the Cubs didn't think that they would be guaranteed Yesevich or James Tibbs at 14. So
yeah,
the
exactly.
Cubs, I mean, yeah,
they get one of them. I had Stanford catcher Malcolm Moore to the Cubs in my mock.
He's going to be a lot further now, probably.
But I had some of these other guys gone.
Yeah.
All right. So, James, back to more important things. You got the milkshake at the game today.
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Yesterday. Flavor profile is really good. It's awesome. But I will say once you get halfway through it, it's just like a chocolate milkshake.
Sounds about right.
So, because it's like the presentation's great, and there's like graham crackers, and they stick a Hershey's in there, and like the marshmallows are perfectly done. And then halfway through, you're just like, do I really want to drink the rest of this chocolate milkshake? But look, I would recommend everybody get it like once if you go to the park. Like it was a pretty good idea.
Sounds like.
So if that's
sorry. Got to cut you off. Sounds like
what the hell are you doing, man? Jeez.
Yeah, that's milkshake takes supremacy. Actually, you're right.
If that's a Brooks Boyer idea, good on him.
So basically, what you're telling me is that if I go, I should get the milkshake, but then I should only drink the first half of it.
So here's the thing: you're gonna get the milkshake, you're gonna love it, but you're never gonna get it again. Like I'm never gonna get it again. There's no reason to. But I can say that I got it, and I can say White Sox pretty good idea. Like, not bad. I get it. And you can go up to the Vizzy Lounge, which is fun. You can walk out on the ledge and watch the game from up there. It's pretty cool. All right, James Tibbs went 13 to the Giants.
It looks like that is the pick from Joe Doyle, a few other guys as well. Yeah.
How many picks? Let me look at. I want to look at my own mock draft to see how terrible I am.
No mock draft is good. It's not even. Don't beat yourself up.
I think I got
nobody did well.
No, I know. I was trying to get 5 correct. I was trying to get 5 correct.
I just heard a chat from the JB guys that they're on a live stream right now, on an eBay live stream, and they said since the first pick they have been wrong on every single pick.
So I got Just Baseball guys.
Yeah.
So I got Charlie Condon at 3.
That's good.
And that's it. So
yeah, it gets ugly real quick. That's just how it goes.
Oh yeah, and even like the ones like I can't get any more because guys are gone. Like so, So the Cubs, I have Malcolm Moore. The Mariners, I have Gerangelo, Sinjay. So yeah, I mean these are not good.
Those
guys.
are not going to
How
go
much?
well
How
because
much
there's
was
so
the?
guys on the board.
How much was the milkshake there, James?
Oh God, like the same price as a beer, like $15 or something.
Okay, so half price there, Vince. Half price.
Yeah, I think it's $15. But I mean, I got a summer shandy and it was like 14 something. So I mean, like it is what. Oh, Danny, great question. I did. Because like my wife was like, that's not real. You can't eat that. And I tasted it. I'm like, oh, it's real. All right. This hardened chocolate that's like on the cup that they give you. Yeah. It's pretty fantastic. It's real chocolate.
Doug says I gained 10 pounds looking at that milkshake.
Yeah. I mean, if you are like lactose intolerant or anything, like, hey man, like it's on you. Like you might still want to experience it once, but
Plan on going to the hospital.
Yeah. Like it's something. Campfire. And I will say, like, I think the thing that makes it the coolest is just like the marshmallows are awesome and they're like perfectly done.
Look at Trey. He had Kurtz at 4, and that's it. And Trey, I will say that if that's the one that you got right,
good for you.
Kudos to you, because that is that one right there. I did not expect.
So I bet it. My DraftKings account nobody wants to hear about, but is well tonight. Like I'm good today, but.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's why I'm
Hagen Smith.
I know I'm really beating myself up over it because as soon as Elijah sent it, I'm like, I can throw 10.
I thought about it too. I thought about the same thing, and I was like,
10 on a 15-1, like.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm not beating myself up too much. I had a good day at the casino this weekend.
Freaking Pete, man. Pete knows it. Knows his stuff.
Yeah, he's a smart guy, man.
So what do you think? He talked to somebody at Arkansas or what? Like, what are we thinking?
He knows a lot of people.
I might ask him off air when we have him on.
Yeah. If you off the camera,
I'm gonna be like, Petey, who told you this information?
No, he knows.
All right. Well.
All right. What are the Cubs up now?
Yeah. Cubs are up next. Let's see what that.
So Tibbs went 14, right?
Tibbs 13 to the Giants.
Oh yeah, that's right. Cubs are at 14.
Yeah,
and they've been stacking their first round pitching prospects over the last couple of years, so it would make total sense if they were to go Savage. But we'll see what happens here.
I feel like
the Cubs need bats too.
I feel like that's what I would do here. I would take Savage if I were them.
Probably. He's a top 14 player, that's for sure. He's talented. Yeah. I mean, he's the third. He was in my eyes like very clear pitcher number 3, so you might as well. But I could see the Cubs swinging for the fences too. Honestly, it wouldn't shock me to see them go like.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Levine earlier today kept asking about the Florida State kid Cam Smith.
Yeah.
So generally, when that happens, he's like heard that from somebody, But who knows? There might be somebody on the board they weren't expecting here too. So.
Yeah, Cam Smith, the Cubs potentially.
All right, so Clutch is asking, who are we hoping falls to 43?
That's impossible to know.
That's the pick. That's the pick at 14. Cam Smith.
Yeah, that makes sense.
How many Cubs fans do you think are on the stream? Any?
Very few.
No, they probably
have 2-3 maybe.
They probably have their own things like this going on.
Cubs fans, they don't got no future Cubs. That's all I'm saying.
They do not.
They do
there
not.
There is no future Cubs.
We are the cream of the crop here, folks.
Oh, hang on. Hang on, it might be wrong. Oh, Joe Doyle is wrong, I think. Let me see. Joe Doyle has Joe Doyle has Cam Smith, but Jeremy Booth, his partner, has Cam Caminiti.
I could see either one of those making a lot of sense, but we'll see.
So it's a source off, baby. I love source offs. Let's see.
Who was the other one you said? Not Joe Doyle, but who else?
Jeremy Booth. He's not his partner, but they're at Future Star Series together. It's like Ian's my partner,
we're not going. It's not that kind of. It's not that kind of stream.
Not quite a partnership, but
I mean, wait till we get to pick 68. Like we'll see, but
we'll be here. I'm ready to go all night, fellas.
Ian, did you have dinner yet?
I have not.
Yeah,
I have not.
Ian is a baseball father, so.
Yeah, I don't get to. I don't really get to do a whole lot.
Yeah. No, I'm luckily on the West Coast. I got a few hours till I'm
He's
in
like one of those
Portland.
guys that like cares about his kid. It's man.
They did end up
life.
winning their first game here, so they are playing in the championship game here.
How do you think he feels about Hagen Smith, your boy?
I think he's going to be kind of surprised, but I mean, we watched his what was it, 17K game. So
yeah.
You were there for that one? Nice. I know.
No, we weren't there for it, but
we
we watched it. So I mean, I'm sure he'll be like, okay, that guy's nasty, which it's true.
Yeah, I mean, the more I think about it, guys, I just like if you can't develop hitting, I guess you just trade for it, right?
You just keep taking stud pitchers. Yes.
You just keep taking stud pitchers and you trade for mid to upper minor hitting prospects and see if it works. I mean, it's a funky idea, but I could see a universe where it works. We'll see.
So what if, and I know this is like the stupidest thing I've ever said, but what if the White Sox actually, I mean, this is going on. I've said stupid things, but this is really going out there. So they get all this pitching. What if the White Sox go in on Juan Soto and actually try and sign him?
That might be your worst all time. Actually, I'm not gonna be. That's rough.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
they're cutting all this? They're cutting all this salary.
Yeah, I mean, they should
they should spend, but that's not one.
They should sign some bats. I was thinking. I was thinking Anthony Santander, but
that sounds right. I've mentioned him on an episode of the.
Okay, so Jeremy corrected it. The Cubs are taking Cam Smith at 14. Florida State third baseman Cam Smith. He's another one of these guys that's like super young. He's like 20, I think.
Let me get a picture.
So I mean, yeah, there's lots of guys on the board. Trey Savage.
No way.
Carson Benj.
There's no way that is more delusional than the White Sox winning 74 this year. There is no way.
Yeah, that's yikes.
Danny, you have to answer for that. I'm just saying.
This current year?
Yes.
Yeah, no. No shot. I don't know if they win. I don't know if they win like 60. I mean, I don't know if they win 50, 55 even. I mean, there's a world where this team wins like 50 games. Like
that's what I said. I was like,
there's really a world where it's like a 50-win team, honestly.
I said I will be shocked if they actually get more than 47.
Guys, they haven't even made any trades yet.
Yeah.
Like it's going to get worse than this.
Oh, for sure. But look at like what's crazy to think about. Like, you see that Hunter Harvey trade, by the way, James? I meant to ask you about that.
I love that trade. I wish the Sox would have freaking made it.
I'm fine with them not making it. I mean, Harvey's more of a reliable option, more of a steady option. It's more of a Royal style option than Kopech is. But for other teams looking at that now, like if you can get that type of a package in terms of value for a Kopech, oh man, the rest of the market for pitching is going to be strong.
Also the Royals too. Like the Royals clearly didn't need pick 39 to sign Tags.
Right.
So they gave it up to Washington. Washington underslots big time at 10. I'm very curious to see what they do later on tonight. So I think we kind of talked about we were going to go through the Cubs pick up to 15. I feel like we can close this out. I know Elijah's like ready to go and continue.
No, I'll be back. I mean, I'm if you guys are down, I'll be
Ian,
back.
What do you think? Like, come on, after 43 or just before?
Maybe 40-ish.
I figure we'll come on before.
Okay. Because we're going to stay on through 68 then, I think. But
might as well.
Yeah.
Going all night, baby.
I'll be here,
yeah,
fellas.
I mean,
ready.
What time you thinking, just so we can let everybody know, just in case? I mean, I don't.
Oh, they pay attention to their TV. These have been going, 5 minutes or so? I mean, my guess
40?
is...
Yeah.
No, pick 43. I mean, right, it's probably at least 9 o'clock, I would think, right?
I was thinking probably right around 9 was my guess.
It could be a
9-ish.
sooner. Yeah, probably that's about right.
We can just follow the Twitter. We'll tweet something out.
Yeah, we'll tweet when we're coming back on. But thanks for everybody for coming and hanging out. Thank you for the super chats, guys. Appreciate those. We will be back on in a little while, and we'll see you guys for pick 43. Looking forward to seeing whether or not we get a bat in this draft. I don't know if we're actually going to even get one at this point. So thank you guys so much. For what is that? Yeah, it's for James and Elijah over here. My name's Ian Eskridge at Daily White Sox. He is James Fox at James Fox 917, and then on the end over there is Elijah Evans at Elijah EV8. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys in a little while. Thank you.